Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Mama Genius Festival / podcast today. We're doing both today because we are going live into the festival, recording these podcasts. You can see behind the scenes. And I have a wonderful guest coming up. Her name is Jenifer Breaux, and she is going to be talking about traveling. And the best part is she is traveling right now. But the key is she is showing how travel is possible for everyone. She has 2 neurodiverse kids, and she's going to give us some tips and trades of how to do it, how to keep going, and not to give up, because it is such vital experiences for all of us to see something beyond ourselves. So let's go ahead and get into our little intro, and I'll be back in a moment to introduce her. Welcome to Mama Genius Hub Podcast, where we support moms with big dreams, from entrepreneurship to personal aspirations. I'm your host, Michelle DeKaiser, and I'm here to help you unlock your potential in all areas of life. Join us as we explore strategies for thriving in motherhood while pursuing the dreams, the key to actually unlocking your genius. Subscribe now and embark on a journey to realize your fullest potential. And we're back, and I get to introduce Jenifer Breaux, is a retired Army veteran who served 3 decades. Amazing. During her time in the Army, she served all over the world. So she knows what it's like to see the world and what it's all about. We got to talk more about that. Through those experiences, she gained a love of service and travel. She excelled in her training and retired with honors. In 2016, she opened a franchise of dream vacations called G.H.G.B Travel Pros, where she helped people travel the world using their 5 senses. So vital. From coast to coast, Jenifer designs luxury experiences that brings her clients' dreams to life. Her passion for neurodiverse has taken her new role in her business and community. She hosts a yearly community event bringing experts together that help the neurodiverse. Using her experience as a mom and 2 autistic boys and years of experience and a travel guru, she empowers caregivers and families to travel the globe. I am so excited to bring on Jenifer. Welcome
hey
to
everyone! So excited to be here, and thank you, Michelle, for having this festival every year. I think it's so important as moms that we, 1, support each other, but 2, find those things that we're passionate about and share. We really need to do that. So thank you so much, Michelle, for having me here today.
Well, I have to ask before we get started with this, is how's festival going for you?
I love it. There are so many great speakers, so many little key takeaways that we can have from everybody. You may not have that one thing like that you need, but if you listen to each speaker, there's 1 or 2 things that you can take away. And I'm following these mamas because it's not just this conference that introduced us to them, but now you're following them because they have something to give you every day. And I love it.
That is so true. There's so much diversity here, so much. And again, as I like to say it, again, moms, take the overwhelm away. Find the speakers, find the message that you need. And if Jenifer's message today about how to travel with neurodiversity is for you, stick around because she's got some great tips. And if you missed her 20-minute talk, go back and find that in the guides as well. And so we're just going to jump right in, Jenifer. What is your why behind wanting to do this? I kind of have an idea, but I want the audience to hear it.
So I have to, as you read, I have 2 autistic boys, and it was bumpy. I mean, I'll be honest, it was crazy when we started with the second one. He has a lot of, he's low on the spectrum. So he has a lot of challenges, and it's not just autism. It's ADHD, it's OCD, both have anxiety, and that really pushes the challenges a lot. So usually I forget the percentage. I attended a lot of conferences when I wanted to learn a lot more and be equipped to help my children. So when I was attending these conferences initially, it's a very high percentage. If you have autism, you also have something else along with that, whether it's ADHD, anxiety. So as I was learning this, it's not just the autism, it's all of these other diagnoses that come with it that becomes challenging for them. And so when I was learning this, I'm like, I need to help other moms, and parents, not just moms and parents, know that travel is possible. I read the statistic that 40% of families will travel this year. Only 16% of families with autistic children will travel. 16%. We need to get that up because listen, in the day to day, our life is hard. It's doctor's appointments. I know it wasn't until second grade when my son was 8 that he didn't have therapy every day when he was 8. So imagine from age 3 to age 8, 5 years. And it doesn't mean that therapy stopped. Oh no, it was still going on, but not every day where he could finally have a fun thing to do until 8. So 5 years. Now, my little Noah, he still has therapy every day. And Jacob has it, but it's a couple days in school and then one after school. So he could have an activity, but every day. So we need to give these parents some fun, to create fun memories, not just, oh, I went to the grocery store while my son or my daughter was in therapy, and then we went home. Mm-hmm. Now you can have some fun memories. I love my children's laughter. That's like the best sound ever. It's, creating, whether we're dancing at home while we're making dinner, or laughter if they're telling another chicken butt joke. Oh my God, I can't even tell you how many times just this morning that they had it. But we need to create memories, and they deserve it. They really deserve it. They are going through it every single day, every hour, every minute. Sometimes it feels like. So that's why I wanted to share the things that helped me, the research that I've done, my years experience planning in the military. So it's not just that when I became a travel guru, it's those decade plus traveling with my kids. It's the decades of planning in the military that brought about this.
I love that so much. And I don't think you made it clear where you are right now.
Oh, so we're in Cancun. We left a week ago. We're going to be here, I think, 5 more days. And we've been to this resort, but I love it because the folks that work here know my kids. So they are familiar. So if they see them, they can look out for them and guide them. But my eldest, for the first time ever, I think we were here a year ago because we've been a couple places in between. He actually went to the coffee shop by himself. Now, maybe that doesn't sound like a big deal to many, but for me and my son, who is my oldest son, he is very quiet. He does have anxiety, but it presents a different way. He actually went there. He took his little brother with him, and he ordered something by himself. And this is huge because he has to build a trust with you. So even his teacher in school, it takes about 3 months before he'll advocate for himself. And even then it's hard for him. He really has to build a trust with someone. So he did that. And I just am beyond over the moon excited for him.
Well, I love that. And even in this new environment that he did that and just the way he did it. So we're just going to dive right in. Where do we start? Like, what are with these tips? And I've listened to your 20-minute talk as well, but I want you to guide this into as if someone hadn't heard that, but also like, where do we start with these ideas of travel?
So the first thing is to understand your abilities of your kids. Like what is their anxiety or autism look like? Okay. And what does your family enjoy? So I would just start with that. And what is your fear? Because you need to put that aside. Are you afraid that they will be looked at? Honey, listen to me. They're always going to be looked at, and your family's going to be looked at. So just ignore that. I know it's hard, but listen, we get looked at every day. So put that aside. Listen, I'm your travel bestie, and I'm going to tell you to put that aside. When I was in the Army, I won't say was harassed, but I was given a hard time about some things. And I had a sergeant that said, be an Omega, let it come to you, go over your head and keep on going. So that's what I want you to do of every day of every year. Okay. Let it be an Omega, because there's going to be people that are looking at you, and who cares? I don't care. And you shouldn't care. So first put that aside. Who cares what they're looking at you? Second, are you afraid that they might get homesick? Well, that might be true. So I'm not going to say don't be afraid of that, because that's a reality for you. So I'm going to tell you to start small. And I love this of starting in a hotel that's an hour away. And why I'm going to tell you this is Because if you go 15 minutes away and they get scared or you get scared, you can run home. And I don't want you to do that. You need to face your fears and your children's fears. So go an hour away. And I really, really want you to not just say, oh, it's a hotel and you go there and you come home. You need to make this the event. Make it an event. Can you swim or you can't swim? Well, listen, most pools are 3 feet or 4 feet. So it's not like you have a deep end. You don't have to worry about that. Unless you have a little baby, then obviously get a flotation device or a little life vest and have that. But really, there's not going to be lifeguards, but it's really not a deep end. It's very shallow. And they do that on purpose so they don't have to have a lifeguard. Okay, and you'll want some towels because they don't provide those towels. They only have the room hotels, right?
The little tiny ones, like you're trying to
yeah, a little hand towel, a washcloth. That's it. You don't want that. And maybe get a beach ball. They're 89 cents, 99 cents from Walmart. So you have something to play with. Make this the event and do that. But I always like to order pizza when we do that. My kids love to go to a hotel. They think it's the bee's knees, if you will. It's fun because it's different from home. I don't know why they don't like home, but they like to go to a hotel. They like to have pizza. They like to watch a movie. So make that an event. Take a bag of popcorn or two and watch a movie. That's the event. And you don't have to cook because listen, you deserve to have a night off and enjoy. Hear your kids laugh for the first time or the first time in a while, or giggle or tickle them on the couch or the pull out sofa bed. And then they make sure you pick a hotel with breakfast. Now, to get to this event, I want you to do a social story. Now, what is a social story? It reads like a book. You're going to have a picture of the hotel. Maybe you're going to have in there how you're going to get to the hotel. Is it your car? Are you borrowing your neighbor's car or your parents' car? And put that in there. Put a suitcase with maybe your picture of your child in it, or a picture of your child in their stuffy or whatever thing that they are attached to. Now, my youngest, he doesn't even like stuffed animals, but he was in an orphanage. They didn't have those things. He didn't know about them. But what he does like are Legos. So I only take a very small box. We're not taking all of them. A small box of Legos with 2 little Matchbox cars. Because it's only for overnight, but it's his comfort item. And my oldest, he takes the same 2 books wherever we go. They're worn out, but we take them. That's his comfort item. And they sit on the nightstand by him. So whatever their comfort item is, put that in the social story. Also, is anybody else going with you? Maybe take a family photo and put that in there. And it will read like a book. And it talks about what you're going to do there. We're going to see a movie. We're going to swim. Put a picture of a swimming pool in there. Put a picture of the hotel. Now, it's up to you when you read the social story. For my eldest, we can tell him days in advance. But for my youngest, we can only tell him like a day in advance because he gets confused on time. So introduce the social story. If your kids have anxiety, maybe have a couple fidgets. If they're standing in line waiting to check in, do some old school games. I just made up one on the way here. We did a sword fight with our fingers, and we did a sword fight. I just made that up here. And this was when we were waiting in line to get onto the airplane. I just made it up. Think about who could stand on their 1 foot the longest. Rock, paper, scissors. I can't do evens and odds. Well, I started doing that with my youngest because we're working on counting. Rock, paper, scissors, though, he knows. Think of those games when you were younger. But like I said, I just made up a game here.
I mean, you always got the old standby, I Spy. And
yeah, I Spy.
The things you see around you.
We did that on the way to the airport. We played I Spy. We do car karaoke on the way to the airport. Listen, we're singing. We are singing and we're doing the backseat.
My daughter belts. I'm not sure I want to do that one.
So you even have games getting to the hotel. I Spy, karaoke, bottles of Kool-Aid on the wall, whatever it is, lemonade. So you can do all those things in the car. Think back to your game. We used to do, I saw a bear, a great big bear. We used to do that around the campfire when I was younger. You could play that. And listen, you have something that I didn't have way back when. You have Google. Google the games. We don't have that. So I've given you a day. Now, listen, when you feel comfortable with that, then you can expand to 3 days, a 3-day getaway, a 3-day cruise.
And we'll be right back in a minute to hear more about that.
Okay.
Attention mompreneurs. Do you feel like you're constantly juggling the responsibilities without a moment to yourself? It's time to pause and reflect with our Mama Genius quiz. Tailored for busy mamas like you, this quiz will help you identify what's blocking your path and inspire you to harness your unique strengths, transform how you manage life and business, find your rhythm, and ignite your joy. Visit mamageniushub.com today to discover your Mama Genius. Again, that's mamageniushub.com. I love how you broke that down first, day one, and now getting into starting off small. And then how do we take it a little bit bigger?
Yeah. So then, once you feel comfortable, then you can do 3-day. And listen, it doesn't have to be like a Disney thing. Listen, I don't even really like Disney. My kids do, but they also like Universal, and that's great. Or Legoland. It's a lot quieter. Or Sesame Street. We did that up near Delaware when we lived in DC. Oh my God, it was fun. And it wasn't like crazy. And you could see the parade and everybody got a seat. I loved it.
It wasn't too bad. My daughter is obsessed with Cookie Monster. She sleeps with 2 cookies every night. So I had to do that one year.
And it was great, wasn't it? But you could also do national parks or Mount Rushmore. My eldest, his favorite president is Abraham Lincoln. So you could do those things. Think about, again, I come back to what are your passions? What are your kids' passions? It doesn't have to be these big, huge parks. It can be all these other things that are available to you, especially if you live out west, right? Think about what's out west. You have, oh my gosh, the California coast, right? So
yeah, I'm from California. I know that very well.
Yeah, we live in a vast and fun country. Or if you were into Alcatraz, right? You have to be 12, but you could do that. Or I'm helping a family with their brother's 17th birthday going to New York City. But he's not about all the New York Times Square. He's interested in Ellis Island and things like that. So again, now they're working up to that. They're working up to this.
What I want to suggest on that is going to the kids' travel section in the library and just letting them explore with those books in area pick sections that you want to actually go to, but let them kind of choose their own adventure. Because then the more that the kids choose in it, the more camaraderie you have on the trip itself.
Now with autism, that could be overwhelming. So you got to give them 2, maybe 3 options, because if they have autism, that's overwhelming. So that's what the brother and sister did. They gave 3 choices. So it was Chicago, New York City, and I forget what the third was, but that was it. Because then when I was there to do a consultation, he's like, well, this or with that. And they had to bring them back into two choices. Because again, it gets overwhelming for them. So that would maybe be later in the spring for him. They could do that choice. Because then he started talking about Washington, D.C., which is fabulous in itself. And you can spend weeks there and never cover everything. But so again, but for neurotypical kids, yes, I would agree with that. And my book that I wrote, it was for caregivers of neurodiverse. But when I shared it with a friend, she's like, this could really fit for everybody, because everybody could use a social story or have tips for a cruise or a land package.
Well, would this popped into my head. I want to run it by you though. But so could you create a social story about choosing, like giving them the choices in that? Would that be?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you could, because you could write some things down about Washington, D.C., some things about Mount Rushmore and what's there to do for those choices, or the Badlands.
Make it less overwhelming for them.
Yeah. Because that's what I did. I came prepared with some examples of those, or you could even create it in Canva, and that way they have pictures. Because I think people respond better to pictures if they visually can see it. So the social story, yeah, that would work. because I think pictures again help.
Yes, I love your expertise, though, and I love that we're guiding the guidelines for both types of kids. But I love that you brought this up and bringing us into this. How do we just integrate and make it more accessible to someone else as well? And I love how you just took that idea, made it more accessible, and like that's what this is all about. What these conversations are all about is how do we just make this work for the child in front of us.
Right.
And I just love how you switched that right now. It was brilliant.
Well, I just think that the world is open and it is possible for folks. It can be adjusted for anybody. I have two children who are on the spectrum, but they're very, very different. And even though one is high functioning, he has anxiety and it has to be recognized. He may, and here's the thing, people think they have autism. Well, what is that supposed to look like? And what do you mean by that? A child is a child. And regardless of diagnoses or not, they have wants and needs. And we need to listen to them, irregardless of what they're feeling or not feeling. Because they have dreams and they have wishes. And I would think as a parent, we would like to, I'm not saying give them everything. They still have to work and they still have chores to their ability.
I love that so much. But just the possibility and really exploring and having them, I mean, as you're saying, their dreams and what they have, I mean, figure out what is their genius.
Right.
It's there too. All of us have it, regardless of what aspects the outside world sees from them. It's beautiful, and just really highlighting that for them and living in their strengths, not weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly. I know that Noah, he changes. Like he'll be on this kick for Mickey Mouse for a while. Then he wants something like Tom the Tow Truck. But there's something in there that he likes. He likes the cars that they're working on. Mickey Mouse has this car show now, and he loves that. And Jacob, he loves animals. So every time we travel somewhere, we'll do something with animals, like feeding the ostriches, swimming with dolphins, something. He has to earn it, though. He can't just be given it. So he has to work for it.
Well, on that note, we are going to go into spreading our voice because we're trying to bring Mama Genius to Tanzania. So I'm going to play that for everyone. And then we're going to come back and give Jenifer our final 5 questions for the podcast. I can't wait to hear her answers.
Have you ever been afraid to raise your hand in class or apply for the school play? I know I have, but not since I've joined the Speak Feed Lead project. The Speak Feed Lead project is now going to Tanzania to help the youth there get their voice heard. We need your help to give a donation. Any donation counts. If it's $5 or $100, any donation will help us be able to inspire the youth and change their lives and give them the power they need to speak from their hearts and give them their voice.
As we ask for a donation for this project, we also want to pass that voice and message along to you, as well as bringing more connection to your family. And so we want to provide a guide for you to bring meaningful connections between you and your kids, what we call a morning circle. And it inspires you to go through and really conversate with your kids in a 5 to 10 minute fashion that really starts to bring deep conversations. We provide the directions for how to do it, along with the cards you can print yourself and create the deep questions such as, what does it mean to be yourself? And you'll be surprised as you go around doing this process, how it starts to just naturally start to open up more and more conversations, even throughout the day. So we want to bring the voice to everyone. All we request is for a donation to our Tanzania project, and we will send you the details to how to make your own circles and get your own cards as well. So please click the link below and make the donation that you feel comfortable with, and we will send these materials to you. Well, we're back. And so the link is in the chat if anyone is interested in bring the voice across to Tanzania. And as Jenifer, I think this is perfect because it's like, how do we inspire more and get it out there? And so we want to do that together. And so we're going to dive right into our 5 questions for Jenifer as soon as my screen is, okay, there we go. So, a lot of screens open today, lots going on, but I'm going to stay with it. You guys are going to stay with me because that's the way we're going to roll. So number one for you, Jenifer, what podcasts or resources really helped you manage your life as a busy mom and business owner?
Oh my goodness. I'm trying to think. Well, we had one here on the Mama Genius that I thought was really, really good. I'm trying to remember what her name was, but she was inspirational. And I think I'm following her now. So
what was her message?
It was about time management and trying to manage all of our, I'm not going to say balls, but basically trying to be a mom, trying to be a business owner, trying to be a manager of the home, and being able to do that, but also be take care of self too. So I really enjoyed that message. And here on the Mama Genius Festival, I wish I could remember her name.
Well, we'll look it up and we'll make sure to put it in the chat.
Yeah, please do, because people need to hear her message.
Well, you'll have to, I don't know off the top of my head which one, so you'll have to put the link into her talk.
Okay, I will. I'll do that.
And we'll have to put that in, and then I'll make sure that gets linked.
Yeah, she was good.
Those as well, and we'll put that in here because sometimes we just can't quite remember everything, but it's actually perfect ideas that we go back and reflect on it. So now you won't forget, because when we go back to put this in there, you won't forget.
But she needs to be highlighted because she's phenomenal, and I think it's applicable to everybody.
That's so true, and I love how you brought out one of our speakers as well. This leads us to number 2, and I think it's perfect for what you're doing now, is what fun activities do you as a family do that keeps bringing joy and happiness into your family?
So we love to play, well, I don't know, it's so hard because we do a couple different things, but every Friday we have movie night, and we have Fun Food Friday, because we like to eat healthy throughout the week, fruit, vegetables, and a balanced meal. But on Friday we get to have fun food. So whether it's pizza, corn dogs, you name it, that's what we have. So Fun Food Friday, and we always watch a movie on Friday, and we get to eat in the living room. So
we do that sometimes actually too, and we set these tables in the living room and we have pizza night. We don't have it like, it's not necessarily set up, but it's like something that sometimes that we say if they've been really good, or like we want to celebrate something, and we do that. But I love how you call it Fun Food Friday. That's amazing. I'm gonna have to steal just putting those words together and using some of the fun stuff with.
Yeah, the alliteration is kind of fun. Yeah. And if we miss Friday, believe me, the kids will ask for Saturday.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what letters can go with Saturday. I got nothing right now. How many more coffee?
Sunday? I don't know. Supper Saturday? I don't know what that would be. I don't.
I was like sassy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Spicy food? I don't know. Nah, the kids don't like that.
Yeah.
We'll move on to number 3 because we'll leave that. But if you guys have fun in the comments and come up with a good Saturday one, put that in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. So number 3 for you actually gets us back to that concept of busyness, because it's one of the things I've been struggling with. I always ask the question, how are you doing? The answers are usually, I'm busy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And work is just so important. So I want to just throw this out to you, either to how do we reword how we ask people how they're doing, or how do we reword our answers to take it any which way you want?
Yeah, because most people, their answer is either busy or I'm fine, right? So I'm fine, or I'm busy, but I'm thankful to God for blessing me, is how I'm trying to say that. So maybe I'm checking in on you. What do you need from me? Do you have time to grab a coffee? I want to make sure you're good. But that kind of gets the I'm good response. So maybe we need an open-ended question instead of how are you? Because that's open-ended, but we know what the answer is going to be. And that's how we answer in the United States. I was on a United Nations mission in Africa, in Liberia, actually. And it's so funny because in the United States, we're not really waiting for the answer because we know what the answer is, right?
I'm fine.
So I was talking to somebody with Ecuador, and they started responding. I'm like, but I didn't really care what your answer was. Or I invited them to dinner, but, oh, we should grab dinner sometime. But that was just politeness, right? They say, okay, when am I coming to dinner?
I love how you said that. I didn't really care what their answer was. And I think that's part of it, is it's like this just nicety to it, but it's like, we're not actually trying to make a connection with people.
Right.
And I want and we're missing something by not trying to make that connection.
Yeah. So we need to rephrase that, because even, oh, well, we should have dinner sometime. He's like, okay, when am I coming to dinner? I'm like,
My thing now is to actually get the calendar out and put a date in if that happens. And you're more likely, even if you can't end up making that date, to reschedule than not to do it at all.
Yeah.
But
so that's been my goal this year, is to be intentional and to make 3 appointments. I say appointments, but put dates on the calendar every month with 3 people, because I want to make connections. So instead of asking how people are doing or whatever, let's have coffee. Are you available next week, the next week, or the next week? And that's what I'm doing now, because that has been my goal this year, is to be intentional with people.
I love that. 3 dates on the calendar. I'm gonna be inspired
each month. Yeah.
To make sure that you're filling out, and because it is true, friendship takes commitment and it takes time and putting that effort into it. And how do we do that? I love that organization of it, though. Then you're intentionally planning it out. That's
versus
amazing.
Doing the I'm fine thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So number 4 takes us into celebrating success. So first of all, what does success mean to you? Because I realized that we kind of sit on one definition, or we think there's a definition, but then when we start to actually ask or think about it, the definition expands. And then how do you celebrate your successes, either as a mom or in your business, or however you want to take that?
Yeah, so that's also hard, because in the military, we measured success. We were very goal oriented. So if you have that for 3 decades, that's hard to move away from that. Like, I was in the top 10%. I did these things. I mentored these people. So how do you move away from that? How do I move away from that when that's been ingrained in me for most of my life? So now it's very hard. So at the beginning of the year, I do write goals, or for 18 months or 2 years, because I've been working on the same goals to get someplace for the last 2.5 years. So it's difficult to say, what does that look like for me? Because I'm on this glide path. I would like to be a speaker, but I have to do these things to become a speaker. I want to have a book out, so I have to do these things to get a book. So I want to be X in my vacation business, but I need to do these things to get to that. So it's very hard. It's not been monetary for me. It's been other things for me. I want to do this for my community. So how do I get to that, to do this for so I know you're looking for a straight answer, but I think you have to look within yourself. And I compete against myself. I don't compete against other people. That's not me. I compete against myself. I want to be on a national talk show. So I need to do these things to get to that national talk show. So I have a big goal, but you have to have these other achievable goals. And I look at that throughout the year, but I also set goals, long-term goals, 5, 10 years, 1-year goals. And then I break that down even further. I have a tool that I use and analyze it periodically, like quarterly. That's what I do.
Your organization skills. So then how do you celebrate those successes?
Let's see. I would like to say food, but I do that every day. So so how do I do that? I toast myself. I'm in a small group who celebrates wins every week. So
I love that.
Yeah, by saying them out loud. I give myself a high five, a pat on the back. I share them with my husband. So verbally announcing those, typing them out. I am also in a women's group, so we celebrate those as well.
Yeah. I love that so much. And you know, it's funny. It's like, you're looking for a straightforward answer. And I'm like, No, not necessarily. That's why it's opening the conversation, because sometimes we think they're supposed to be straightforward answered, or we thought we had one, and then we realize because we're talking about that, we want to work with that a little bit more. And I think that's the point of that, especially with success, because we, especially as entrepreneurs, we have these ideals in our head, but what really do we define as it? Because I'm struggling with it too, which is why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, so I set those out though, long-term, short-term goals, and then small goals in between.
I love that. So number 5, though, brings us to, I love this for you. How do we really go into our kids and help them find their genius?
That takes a while too, right? Like my son, who I've prayed for since he was 5, is to have a friend, to just have a friend, one friend. And he finally has a friend this year, a few friends. But talking with him, spending time, I also think exploring options for him, like exposing him to other things. We have this Museum of Science and Industry. He did a camp there. He did a camp at the zoo, exposing him to, I'm in the Chamber of Commerce, exposing him to those different businesses. I made him present before. He didn't like it, but I made him. Like I did it in that question answer period. And then his treat was lunch. That was his payday. was
I love that.
Mom providing lunch. But he got exposed to other businesses because I take him there. So, and then he was in Cub Scouts, so he interviewed somebody for a badge. So I think by that exposure, that helped him. So exposing him, you have a lot of friends and you are well connected. Exposing your children, you're doing fabulous with your son. I mean, that is so amazing. And maybe he's on his glide path, or maybe not, but he's exposed to other businesses and other opportunities and other people. My son is exposed to other cultures. We don't just sit here, we expose him. And it's so important to expose people to other cultures, because it's not like it is in our neighborhood. Other cultures, other communities, other languages, not just the businesses that I work with, because then they have a sense of what the world is about. And then maybe they will be change makers. Maybe they won't, but maybe they will. And it might be with animals, it might be with people, it might be in their own neighborhood and community, it might be the world. But if we expose them to other people, other cultures, other animals, then I think that's where we'll find their genius, and they will find it.
I love that so much. And it brings out the compassion and the, like, just inside you, seeing your strengths and other people's strengths. And then we're very similar, but we're not all the same. And we can each bring that out in each other.
Right.
On that note, how can people get a hold of you, first of all? And then what is your final takeaway for everyone?
How they can get a hold of me. I have 2 at I am Jenifer Breaux. So you see my name because it's a lot of vowels. And one N in Jenifer. So it's a little different. And at J.B. for Jenifer Breaux, Travel Pros. So Jenifer Breaux, you're going to find all the fabulous thoughts that are in my head. And at G.H.G.B Travel Pros, this month I'm talking about Greece. Last month I talked about Paris.
Yeah.
And all the videos and fun things you can do. And I provide travel tips for free of how much time or how much money or the most effective way that you can travel. And my email address is jbreaux@dreamvacations.com.
I love that so much. And what's your final takeaway for everyone today?
My final takeaway is just get out and explore, whether it's your own state, your own country, or somewhere in the world. Just get out and explore. You'll find something different and unique that you never knew about.
Well, thank you so much for being on today, Jenifer. It's been such a pleasure to have you on here today. And I'm just so grateful to expand our thought process and to really get out there a little bit more. And just want to thank you for coming on today.
I adore you, Michelle. Thank you for this festival. Thank you for the safe place for mamas to connect, for all the information that you have allowed all of us speakers to provide information. And again, I just adore you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I just wanted to spend a few seconds, because I've been taking notes all along, giving my takeaways on what I got from Jenifer's talk, the best 5 takeaways. So number 1, understanding the abilities of your kids. What does that look like? And what is your family like doing. So looking at those two things when you decide what you want to travel with. And that leads us into number 2, though, I started that at number 1, but what are your fears behind this? And to really hone in on being that omega and really letting go of whatever people are saying, but releasing it. And really, it's not hard. It's not easy, but we always have that. So the more we start to own into that, the better. And then, of course, that fear of homesickness, right? Of trying to alleviate that. So where do we start with that? It leads us into number 3, is to make an event. Take it an hour away. Make that hotel an event. Have a pizza night. Play in the pool. Do something that you know that they're going to enjoy and make an event. But how do we tell them about it? Which leads us into number 4, which is creating those social stories. So read it like a book. Create that hotel, create that picture. And then we were also engaging that too when we make it into a longer trip of being able to make that social story to create what they're talking about beforehand. So like if you want to give them choices, you can give that in that social story as well. And that leads us into number 5. And I love this the most, is that it's possible to do this. And how do we adjust to that? We listen to the needs and wants to what our kids have. What are their dreams? What are their desires when we plan these things? So we're getting exposure to what's being on. So remember, stay intact, be that omega, and let's get more than 16% of autistic kids out there traveling. And we'll see you all on the next episode of the Mama Genius Hub podcast. Thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Mama Genius Hub podcast. If you found value in our conversation, please share this episode with another mama who might benefit. Sharing helps us build a supportive community and reach out to more mamas like you. After all, it's more fun when we do motherhood together. Until next time, stay motivated and continue to pursue your dreams as you shine in your genius.